So what's up guys, LazyNeil here, and today we are going to be testing out PlayStation 2 emulation on the Honor Magicbook X16. Now the thing is that I'll be covering up around 12 to 13 games. So some of them are popular, some of them are games which I played when I was a kid. So basically along those lines. So basically I had a PlayStation 2 when I was a kid. I still own it, but it does not work. So I bought another one and I still play games like GTA, NFS Most Wanted and things like that. So it's a really fun console and I hope that the PlayStation 2 emulation works really well on the Honor Magicbook X16. Fingers crossed on that. So basically what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be playing these games and I'm just going to showing all the stats and letting you all know that at least these games, the ones which I'm going to be testing out, are going to work properly or not. Now I can't test each and every game that's not going to work out, and you might need to change some settings here and there to make some of the games work. But yeah, that's about it. So hopefully this video helps you a lot, and without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we'll start with the first game, which is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Now, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was one of the games which I played in my childhood, and it's one of the awesome Dragon Ball Z games till date, at least for me, when it comes to the Dragon Ball Z franchise. Now, this is running at 60 FPS and it's running really well. I've tried to keep the settings as default as possible, except for it is running on 1080p resolution. You can also check the settings at the bottom. Again, keep in mind everything is at auto, so things may change here and there for each and every game, because again it changes game by game basis, so just keep that in mind. Again, the stats are at the right side of the screen just for you to analyze it, but again you're getting a nice smooth for 59 to 60 FPS, which I think is really decent. So I would say Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 works really well. So yeah, I think we'll move to the next game. Okay, so next up we have is God of War 2. Now God of War 2 is running a little bit lower frame rate compared to Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. It is running at 50 FPS. Now again, this was another game which I played quite a bit, and I loved the whole God of War series. Sadly, I only played God of War 1 and 2 because I still own a PlayStation 2. But yeah, it was a really good game and it's running fairly well. Again, it's not 30 or 40, it's 50 FPS, which is, I still think it's pretty much playable, running really well. Again, you can see all the settings below. Keep in mind everything is at auto, 1080p, and I would say works really well. You might see a little bit drops here and there from time to time, but I would say for the most part, I would say pretty much playable. So now we'll move on to the next game. So next up we have Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now Grand Theft Auto is a really popular game. I think everybody knows about Grand Theft Auto by now. It's running really well. It's running at 50, 60 FPS, same as the Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So that's good. Again, the settings are at the bottom. It's running at 1080p and I think it's really smooth. Things are working really well, and I would say it's pretty much a very playable game on the Honor Magicbook X16. Now, for people who want to run some other Grand Theft Auto, I think so it should work really well, because I think San Andreas was the last Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation 2. I may be wrong on it, but if this one runs, I would say the previous ones run too. So that's about it. So I think we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so next one is, to be honest with you, one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. This is NFS Most Wanted. Most Wanted was, I would say, and is still one of my favorite racing games till date. Now the graphics have aged well, but I would not say it is the best graphics, like if you see all other games in the even in the Need for Speed series. But I would say, as per the gameplay is concerned, the atmosphere is concerned, the game itself is concerned, it's a really good game and has aged like fine wine. Now as per the FPS is concerned, it is running at 5960 FPS, which is really good. It is running on 1080p. Again, you can see the settings below. And I would say it is pretty much a very playable game, similar to Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Again, if you have not tried out NFS Most Wanted before, I think you should give it a try. I think most everybody has, because it was, again, another very popular game. But this was one of my games which I always used to play, and one of my favorite games, to be honest with you. So yeah, I would say that's about it, and we'll move on to the next one. So next up we have Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja 5. Now, this game is in the same ballpark as the God of War series. If you've seen, the God of War series also runs at around 50, 49 FPS. This is the God of War 2, which I just showcased on this video. Now, I would still say it is decent enough. Again, it's not 30 or 40 FPS, it's 50 FPS, which is very, very much playable. Again, it's not 60 FPS, but I would say it is pretty much good to go. And I would not say you will regret playing this game on the Honor Magicbook X16. Now, this Naruto is a really good game, so if you've not played it before, do play it, and it's really, really fun. So, if you are a fan of Naruto, I would say this is one of the good games or one of the best games when it comes to Naruto franchise on the PlayStation 2. So, yeah, do check it out. Again, 4950 FPS is a good frame rate, and I would say it is very, very much playable. So, yeah, on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have Devil May Cry 5. Now, Devil May Cry 5 is a really good hack and slash game. If you have not played it before, you should. And it is running at around 59 FPS. You could say it's running at 60 FPS, but it's around 59.95, 94, similar to those kind of numbers. Now, you can still round it up to 60 if you want to. But again, very, very much playable, super smooth, and I would say it's a really good hack and slash game. If you have not played it before, you should. Again, it's running at 1080p default stuff, so it's running really well on this laptop. So yeah, I think we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have Def Jam Fight for New York. Now this game is again another game which I played a lot when I was a kid. It may seem like a wrestling kind of a game. It is to an extent, but it's not. It got really good combos, really good, final moves and things like that. It's a really fun game. Even the story mode is really fun. You can make your own character. You can make him have different kind of skills. It's a really good fun game. If you have not played it, you should. And again, on the Honor Magicbook X16, it's running at around 59, 60 FPS, again rounding it up to. And I would say it's a really good game, really runs really smooth on this device. Again, it's running on 1080p default stuff, and I would say if you have not played this game, you should right now. Again, I think that's about it, and I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this one is a hidden gem on the PlayStation 2. This is Genji, and when I saw this game, at least on the television itself, there was a show called Game Max on Animax, and this game was really good. Like the graphics itself for the time was just mind blowing. So if you have not played this game before, you should. It is kind of a little bit of a talking kind of a game. There's a lot of fighting too. It's a little bit on the tougher side. It's kind of like, fighting like, normal people and then fighting the main boss. It kind of goes that way. You get a lot of moves. You get, special moves and things like that. It works really well on the Honor Magicbook X16. Again, 59, you could say 60 FPS. Again, 1080p default-ish. There are some things changed here and there, comes to the settings, but not much because of the dithering effect which I was getting. But other than that, it's working really well. 59 FPS, and if you have not played this game, and if you up for a challenge, I would say it's a really good game. So yeah, do check it out if you like it. So I think that's about it, and I think we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have Jak 3. Jak 3 is a really good franchise series. It starts from 1, 2, and this one is the third iteration of it. It's a really fun game. It is, you could say if you have played Ratchet and Clank, it's kind of similar vibe to that. So if you like that kind of games, you can play it. You get different guns, you get different moves, and it's pretty much a really fun game if you want to try it out. Again, it's running at 59, 60 FPS to an extent and works really well. So if you want to try it out, you can. It's running again at 1080p and default settings. And if you want to try it out, you can. So yeah, that's about it. I think we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have FIFA Street 2. Now, if you're a fan of FIFA and you like to play it on the streets, this is your game. Now, this game took a little bit more time than expected to make this run. It's not about the FPS itself. FPS was good. Again, in the same ballpark as the God of War series, is around 50 FPS, which is still decent. The problem was that the graphics itself was pretty much glitchy. So you have to change some settings here and there to make it work. Again, there are a couple of guides. I'll link down some guides. If you want to play this game on the Honor Magicbook X16 with the PSX Emulation, you can do. And yeah, that's about it. It's running pretty well. Again, 1080p. And I would say if you are a fan of playing FIFA on the streets, this is your game. So yeah, that's about it. And I think we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have is one game which I played and when I was a kid at least. And I would say the graphics itself was just astounding for the time. This game is called Black, and Black runs at around 5960 FPS, which is a really good frame rate. Now, for that time, the graphics itself was just mind blowing, to be honest with you. When I first saw it, I was like, how can this even be that way? But other than that, I'm never a fan of playing shooting games with a controller. I never played them. So I never reached as far. I think I only reached maybe one or two missions. Other than that, I really didn't play the game. But because of the fact that I was always a mouse and keyboard kind of a guy by playing shooting games, I think most of us are. So if you want to play this game, you can. It's a bit on the difficult side because the checkpoints are pretty far, but the game itself runs really well. Again, 5960 FPS, really good graphics. So if you want to play this game, it does work on the Magicbook X16 on the PSX emulation. So yeah, that's about it. Again, 1080p default settings, works really well. So I think, yeah, I think we'll move on to the last game, which is, again, I would not say a hidden gem, but it's a and I would say one of the highlights of the PlayStation 2. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so guys, last but not least, we have one of the most, I would not say it's a hidden gem, but it is definitely a gem for the PlayStation 2. If anybody has played this game, they will just say it's one of the best games for the PlayStation 2, and that is Shadow of Colossus. Now, Shadow of Colossus is basically, the premise goes somewhere along the lines of you're a guy and you basically have a sword and a horse, and you have to basically find this Colossus using your sword, and then you have to kill them one by one. Now, to kill the Colossus is not as easy as just hack and slash. You need to climb the Colossus, you need to kill them one step at a time, and then you need to, go to the next Colossus. Now, I'm not explaining it very well, to be honest with you, because, to be honest with you, even when it's such a good game, I really didn't reach as far as I wanted to. But again, the people who have played this game, they will watch for this game, and I would say if you have not played it, you definitely should. It's one of the good games, and again, it's running at around 60 FPS. There are some dips at around 55, 50 FPS from time to time for this game on the Honor Magicbook X16, but I would still say it's pretty much playable. So that's about that. If you have not played this game before, you should. And I would say still, it's one of the gems on the PlayStation 2. So yeah, do check it out if you have not. So yeah, that's about it, I think. So yeah, let's move on to the outro itself and what do I think about it at the end of the day. So I think that PlayStation emulation is kind of success on the Honor Magicbook X16. Now I was a bit worried because it has an Intel HD graphics inside of it and not even the Iris and any dedicated graphics. So I was a bit worried about it. But it is PlayStation 2 at the end of the day, so it has matured like very much as per emulation is concerned. So I'm pretty much happy that all of the games which I tested out work really well, and I think at least that other games which I have not tested out should work very well too. So yeah, that wraps it up, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.